Ever thought it was kind of weird that luxury fashion is everywhere if most of us are not billionaires? Well, here's the thing. Luxury fashion is not only for rich people, actually, it's for poor people too. From maxing out credit cards to chasing trends, let's plunge into why designer labels seem more accessible and tempting than ever. Luxury brands have created imagery where logos mean status and symbols mean wealth. Most high-branded companies sell images rather than products, especially to people who try hard to convey the message of belonging to a wealthy class. This has become a concept even picked up in popular culture. Think of one example maybe found in Succession, and its innocuous $625 cashmere hat, which launched 1,000 stealth wealth think pieces. Celebrities wear Gucci or Balenciaga because they are paid to do so, but the actually wealthy class dresses otherwise. It's all about subtlety, impeccable craftsmanship, and perfect fits that say it all without saying a word. Think about Mark Zuckerberg's grey t-shirts. They are boring, except they are actually bespoke from Brunello Cucinelli at $400 each. Quiet luxury is becoming much more of a trend among the ultra-high net worth in general. This penchant for exclusive items from Prada or Valentino, for example, without logos, but that can actually pass unnoticed in everyday life, blended into it, you only know, in fact, that it is a luxury item if you really know your stuff. This shift to unbranded luxury therefore inspires authenticity and individuality. The material used and perfect tailoring serve as sufficient testimony to attract individuals who view subtle style with greater significance than blatant consumption. The popular notion of luxury is often derived from bold logos, whether it's a Rolex, a Lamborghini, or Gucci flip-flops. But much of this, of course, is due to massive, multi-million-dollar advertising campaigns that convince consumers that these logos really equal luxury. It is not always about quality, but about the image portrayed by these brands. Such products serve as status symbols, much like peacock feathers or a penguin's valued pebbles, saying in the most expressive way, "I've made it." Recent marketing, at its best, has only perpetuated this belief. Billions are spent by brands to ensure they are associated with success, money, and high social standing. Well, billionaires like Jeff Bezos seldom wear gaudy brands, and the reason behind this is pretty simple. Their wealth is well known. They do not need to flash it with logos. But when you see a colleague or neighbor in really expensive designer clothes, you might start to ask questions like how they manage to afford such things. Sometimes, such individuals stress their finances just to appear much wealthier. The studies show that the higher the income inequality around, the higher the drive to appear rich. That's why designer fashion and luxury accessories are aspirational purchases most people make in trying to show they're part of a higher tier. For example, many buy things that suggest wealth at the expense of other financial priorities. These studies show that within states with high income inequality, people search for luxury brands online. The pattern closely replicates the maps showing income inequality, reflecting the ambition of most people to show affluence. While most advertisements of luxury goods are for the ultra-rich, a large portion of the market actually comes from middle-income and lower-income consumers. It is a deeper cultural phenomenon, interested in status and the necessity of filling in that aspiration gap between one wants and the reality. The critics blast those spending so much money on luxury items, but maybe just fail to understand what's fueling it. For example, Air Jordans are so popular with young African American guys. Owning a pair means much more to many than just shoes, a matter of status, belonging, and pride. Most purchases constitute a trade-off, possibly in financial strain for the psychological reward toward feelings of inclusion. The dynamics here reflect how big a role luxury goods can play in self-expression and social identity, since value comes from what it represents, not necessarily the material worth of it. Luxury goods greatly help in increasing self-esteem and, more importantly, the social status for people who feel insecure about their place in society. For instance, using a properly tailored suit to a job interview gives one confidence even though your wallet may be stretched a bit. This demand has further spurred the market for counterfeit versions of luxury goods from New York's Canal Street to online websites in China. It is, in fact, this mass availability of these imitations that draws on the extreme desiring of the status these brands carry with them. The quality is poorer, of course, but the demand for their fake relatives has become almost tantamount to the appeal of luxury. Due to the pandemic COVID-19, many thought that the spending in the luxury business would drop because there was one thing that led to economic uncertainty, but the opposite happened. Moet Hennessy, Louis Vuitton's stock market capitalization jumped over $500 billion as the conglomerate of brands like Tiffany and Dior. The CEO of LVMH, Bernard Arnault briefly became the wealthiest man in the world, with his net worth topping $200 billion. The only explanation for this unlikely trend was through some sort of psychological toggle whereby people look for solace and reassurance in buying luxury items during times of crisis. Plus, government stimulus checks gave some extra disposable income, some of which trickled into the luxury market. Research shows that when income inequality rises, both rich and lower income individuals are more likely to purchase luxury goods. The rich do this because they can afford to, whereas the less rich purchase these goods to show status. Some utilized pandemic stimulus checks to indulge in luxuries as a manifestation of how we reconsider our perception of luxury. It also falls in line with aspirational consumption, whereby luxury goods become a means of navigating social ills. In those moments of economic insecurity, the ownership of a luxury good can be an anchor of stability, a confirmation of one's status that enforces greater cultural narratives on material prosperity. Gen Z getting into the market sooner. Whereas older generations didn't make their first purchases of luxury items until they were 18 years old, most Gen Zs made them at age 15. Social media drives this, as luxury brands and their influencers present a lifestyle that feels within reach. Buy now, pay later services such as Afterpay and resale sites for luxury items like The Real have made high-end items more accessible. While these options democratize luxury, they also tend to encourage spending more than one's means. The trend reveals a new attitude towards luxury in which the status symbol is no longer an exclusive reserve for the super rich, but widely available for many. As more young people are buying into the luxury goods market, exclusive items inevitably lose much of their mystique. Even culturally iconic shows like The Simpsons, initially intended to represent a blue-collar family, have paired up with high-end fashion brands like Balenciaga. All of this just goes to prove how suddenly high-end fashion is accepting more and more consumers within its brackets, not only the elite, but also middle-class people. And to create an illusion of scarcity that can justify their very high prices, they make limited production and destroy unsold stock. This strategy keeps them exclusive, but it also produces a less exclusive taste of luxury, which is more welcoming to more people into the fold. Old money versus new money has been an age-old discussion across social media. This, in turn, usually reflects broader cultural forces. Old money families, such as the Waltons that built Walmart, normally go for an understated and classic style. Then there is new money, like those who made their fortunes with tech startups or cryptocurrency, who tend to flash their wealth much more. This divide is not new, certainly. It echoes back to The Great Gatsby, but it has taken on new life with TV shows like Succession, which taps into the fetish of quiet luxury from old money versus the flashier style of new wealth. In Succession, old money characters wear high-end pieces that most wouldn't recognize as luxury unless they knew where to look. A preference for subtlety over logos defines what's come to be known as quiet luxury. These garments are extremely expensive, but their value is visible only to those who know the brands and styles. Set that against the really flashy new money elements, and you've got a great story. The subtle luxury is appealing to the viewer as this speaks of a more discreet, timeless approach to wealth, whereby quality speaks louder than screaming logos. When people think of luxury, they often envision bold logos. But many high-end brands, like Ralph Lauren and Gucci, also make far more understated, sans logo items that are frequently even more expensive. That echoes the streaming model, whereby you can watch for free with ads, or you can pay for a seamless experience. A whole subculture has emerged around how to replicate the old money aesthetic on a budget, with fast fashion retailers like Zara and H&M jumping on the trend. The result is a strategy that lets more consumers be part of the luxury world, even if the products they buy aren't carrying quite the same pedigree as the high-end originals. Not every flashy purchase of luxury items has to do with showing off. For some, it's about an appreciation of the brand or a reward to oneself. Social media has amplified the ability of brands to connect with consumers, each offering a unique lifestyle or identity. However, it becomes a problem if these purchases are impelled by one wanting to appear to be much wealthier than one actually is. This phenomenon escalates most in economic recessions. This means that when buyers attempt to afford the lifestyle they really cannot live, financial burdens develop. As more and more luxury becomes available, the line between true appreciation and aspiration for status continues to blur. Fashion is exclusive in luxury, but quite bluntly, it's all available to everyone, at a price sometimes. So splurge or save, that's your call. Either way, show it off. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Style Talk.